Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Miss S. I am 1P's student teacher. So Miss V and Miss M's class, you guys are gonna do a little experiment with me today too. So I'm very excited. Science is one of my favorite subjects. And we've been talking about animal adaptations. So you've read a couple books on them so far. You've learned about some adaptations. Today we're gonna talk about penguin adaptations. So penguins live in a very specific, very crazy, extreme environment in the Arctic. And they swim in the freezing cold water of the Arctic. So how in the world do they stay warm? Or do they, how do they stay warm in the freezing cold Arctic? So we are going to conduct a science experiment today, which I'm very excited about. But before we do, I'm going to defer to my expert, who is my roommate and who has worked at the zoo and who has done a lot of research on penguins and can tell us a lot more than Miss S can, because I'm no penguin expert.
Hi guys, I'm the local penguin expert. So before penguins go swimming, they secrete oil out of their uripygeal gland at the base of their tail and then diffuse that oil throughout their feathers using their beak.
Okay, so what our expert Jack is trying to tell you guys in better terms that I can understand and that you guys can understand is that our penguins, they send oil through their feathers, through a little gland under their tails, and it makes them waterproof. Kind of like they're wearing a raincoat. They have this rubbery, oily coating on the outside of their feathers. So today we're gonna sort of emulate this in an experiment. So here's your materials. So you guys are going to need to draw your penguins with crayons if you guys are doing this at home. You do not need to do this at home. You can just use my experiment, but if you would like to do it at home and you already have all these materials, go for it. I would love to see pictures of that. So you have to use crayons because crayons have a very special oily coating that is just like the oily coating that's on a penguin's feathers. So you have to use crayons. And when you're coloring your penguin and you're coloring his tummy, I found it really difficult to use the white crayon because I couldn't see if I was covering everything. So if you want to make the belly of your penguin a different color like pink or blue or red, I would highly suggest that. Even though it's not quite accurate or scientific, it will make your experiment a lot easier to conduct. I also used blue food coloring in my water sprayer because even though the Arctic Ocean is not neon blue, it's going to make it a lot easier to see the results of our experiment. If you don't have a spray bottle at home, that's totally fine. Don't go out and buy any new materials. I repeat, do not go out and buy new materials. You can use a measuring cup like this one or anything with a spout like that. So anything that you can pour slowly. Finally, get yourself something that is waterproof. I'm using a pizza pan, cookie sheets work, any sort of baking sheet works so that you don't get water everywhere. Okay? So now getting started. So first, I'm going to state my hypothesis, which is a scientific guess about what's going to happen before we start our experiment. So my hypothesis, or my very scientific guess, is that when I spray my penguin with this water to show him swimming in the ocean, I think that my penguin is going to get all soggy and is going to be ruined. So next part is we conduct our experiment. All right, so tomorrow you're going to be recording the results of the experiment. So if you did not conduct it at home, here's where you would pause the video to show the results of my experiment. So pause it right here and draw the results or write the results in a couple sentences of what you see happening here. Okay, so I have to go back and I have to do something very scientific. I have to change my hypothesis, which is weird, right? You think that, oh, I made a scientific guess and I was wrong. Oh man, that stinks. No, scientists can go back and they can change their hypothesis to match their results. So instead of saying, oh, when I spray my penguin, it's gonna get all soggy and it's gonna get ruined, I'm gonna change my hypothesis and I'm gonna say, when I spray my penguin with this water, the oil in its feathers are going to repel the water or are going to push the water away so that my penguin stays dry. See that? My penguin's not ruined at all. All right, so if you guys conduct the experiment, remember this is not necessary. You do not need to conduct the experiment. You can just use the video. You can just use this video here to record results. So if you conduct your experiment, please take pictures and post them on Seesaw. I would love to see you guys conducting the experiment, but it is not necessary. So thank you for joining Mrs. S's Science Experiment Lab. We'll be back next week.